We will call this meeting to order. This is Skokie 68 Board of Education meeting of June 20th, 2024. We live and on YouTube. Thank you very much. I have a roll call.
Moderator, Hayat, here. Ramiro, here. Bruckner,
Here.
Stedman, here. Sullivan, here. Worsham, here.
We will now open our meeting for public comment. Please remember this is not a dialogue between you and the board. If you have a specific issue which requires a response, a superintendent will get back to you or the appropriate person. Please state your name. You should have registered in the front lobby. If you have not, this is your last chance to do so. State your name and your connection to Skokie District 68. Please limit your remarks to no more than 5 minutes. Please avoid comments specific to any person, student, or staff member respecting their right to privacy. We have, at this moment, I believe 5 registered public comments, the first of which was email. I will read that aloud, and then I will call those who have registered. This is from Kate Pellish. I am writing today to express my deep dismay that after resounding evidence about Dr. Sullivan's involvement with the Northwestern encampment and painfully obvious anti-Semitic views, she has stated extremely biased and false statements to other board and community members that are so clearly anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic. From the circulated FOIA emails, it is unabashedly clear that she does not come from a place of inclusion for Jewish people, and nor is she trying to hide that. The fact that some members of the board have not done anything to address her concerning involvement of the encampment on top of her problematic views is unacceptable at this point in time. From the FOIA emails, it is clear that one board member was working tirelessly to support the Jewish community and was faced with blatant anti-Semitism and a lack of support from the other members of the board to rally behind her concerns. While in some warped capacity, it's clear that Dr. Sullivan views her actions to be sticking up for a population of people that need support. In doing so, she has completely left out an entire population of people in her own community that are being targeted and made to feel deeply unsafe. That is not the D68 way, and if this continues to be your messaging, that you accept Dr. Sullivan's actions, then your commitment to equity is a total farce. Dr. Sullivan can no longer safely, if she ever did, serve our community, and we demand accountability and change. That is our only pre-submitted comment. We will now hear from Sydney Stein.
Good evening. I'm going to put my comments, focus my comments for one of the board members, but it may also be asked for other board members to. My name is Sid Stein. I'm a father of a Niles Township High School student, a teacher, and the U.S. Army veteran. Dr. Sullivan, many of us have been troubled by what we've been seeing in the college campus. While students should be able to peacefully protest and express their views, barring students for the religious or political views from parts of campus and encampments is not a First Amendment protected activity. Furthermore, in essence, these activities support the Middle East terrorist group Hamas, to be very honest. Terrorism being correctly defined as the targeting and murder of civilians for political ends. These attacks on October 7th also included mass breach, as we all know. Furthermore, just take, for example, every group was a cause. Use similar tactics. People involved with the abortion and the underpiece, which are also hot ticket items. Campus life at our university would come to a standstill. So, Dr. Sullivan, your participation in the campus is concerning, and perhaps you need to do some soul searching to ensure you can truly represent our diverse community and help run our schools safely and effectively. Thank you for your time.
The next comment is from Anna Latson.
Hello, as you said, my name is Anna Latson. I'm a resident of this district. I'm a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 6. 3 of my children are grown. My grandchildren are too young. I hope they will be students one day. They attend those little play schools right now. So my concern is that they grow in a community where they be visibly Jewish, where Jewish religious items, whatever, be welcome everywhere, and in the past it was the kids. I was here at the last meeting, and I stood down and I did not speak, and the moment Dr. Sullivan came with the statement, I immediately regretted not signing up because the statement, first of all, was a compilation of lies and manipulating facts, gaslighting, or just ignoring information. I don't know any other IG adjectives. English is not my native language, but you can fill in. It was outrageous. So yesterday was Juneteenth, and I heard many times for some reason on the radio the quote from Martin Luther King. That in the end we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. So school board values, which I think are civility, inclusivity, and peaceful deliberation. Also listening to concern of parents, grandparents, and community members. So my question is kind of to you. I don't know if I can talk to Dr. Sullivan because I don't have much in common with him. How do you, after reading those poet emails, do not come with any statements of condemnation of how she bullied, literally means involved in verbal gymnastics? I came from the country where I was taught scientific communism. I thought I was reading my college school books with Marxist, with rhetoric all around. So at this point, I think that needless to say that Dr. Sullivan's actions are beyond unacceptable. We have evidence of pushing to actions that Professor and were filmed and her emails to Jewish board member Amy Warsaw, I pronounce it right, Warsaw, have been obtained for a request, and there's not enough time here to comment on how what egregious all the statements are and offensive. So I think all her actions and all her statements and all her behavior is so prejudicial and so inappropriate and so not within the ethics of the school. So I think you as board members should seriously consider asking to step down. And I really hope we can hear from you. Because last time when there was supposed to be deliberation, we heard nothing. Like there were parents who were crying, there were students who came, that's another shameful thing. We recognize those like misguided souls, GBT students. They have a right to be here and stay whatever. They don't live in this district. They don't have children in this district. You have parents who are parents in this district who came here crying, asking for your help and understanding. And all they were asking that they want these children to be in this wonderful, wonderful school district that we're all so proud of, without being ever harassed or be threatened that their curriculum would reflect changes that some people might propose. That's my statement.
We're now here from Stephen Levin.
Hi, my name is Stephen Levin, and I'm an incoming Devonshire parent, and I also spoke here last month. As I mentioned last month as well, one of the things that I really love about this community is its diversity. Diversity should be its strength. Whether you're Jewish, Muslim, Palestinian, Israeli, or one of the many other cultures or religions. However, I'm back to express some deep concern regarding recent district emails and actions. Last month, one of the speakers here, Rabbi Marks, she had some words on intent versus impact, and it left a profound impression on me. Board members must consider how their actions impact our diverse communities. When a board member signs onto a Northwestern statement using Zionist as a slur, it deeply impacts us since Zionists represent more than 80% of the Jewish community. This ignorance not only discredits the signatories, but also marginalizes mainstream Jewish voices in favor of fringe groups like Jewish Voice for Peace, or JVP. Despite its name, JVP has a history of endorsing and celebrating terrorist attacks against Israel, which is widely condemned by the Jewish community. Dr. Sullivan's email exchanges with Annie Warsaw were also troubling. She called Annie's request to call October 7th an attack on Jews, quote, inappropriate, while making statements that aligned with anti-Semitic tropes like holding Jews collectively responsible for actions of the state of Israel, despite attempting to walk that back in subsequent email. The impact of these actions was evident in an out-tweeted Facebook post from the Skokie parent group. One, they criticized the Highland School yearbook for including the Hamas attack on their list of world events. When I voiced my support of the school's decision in their yearbook to keep that event there, another group member stated to me that the problem was not with any particular government official like the Israeli Prime Minister, but with Israel and its people. While Dr. Sullivan did not make this statement, the impact of her dismissive attitude towards Jewish concerns emboldens anti-Semitic rhetoric under the guise of criticism of Israel. Dr. Sullivan, in your emails, you emphasize the importance of critical thinking. Had you critically examined the Northwestern resolution that you signed, you would have discovered that the origins of using Zionist as a slur trace back to former KKK leader David Duke. And you would not have doubled down on your other statements when Annie expressed concern regarding the rhetoric. These oversights raise serious doubts about your ability to serve on the board for a diverse community. As I emphasized last month, diversity and inclusion should not be conditional. Thank you again for your time.
We'll now hear from Sue Ann Rosen.
Thank you very much. Many of my words are going to be repetitive of what others said, but I think they bear repeating because I think these are very serious issues. And I'm saying this to the entire board. My name is Sue Ann Rosen. I live in District 16 and I've been here for more than 30 years. My children are here and my grandchildren are here. I'm called to address the entire board regarding the recent meetings where Dr. Noah Sullivan's words have caused considerable distress. It's disheartening that despite the significant turnout at your meetings, there's been a deafening silence in response to her hurtful, shameful remarks. Her comments blaming Israel for the actions of Hamas and her use of anti-Semitic language are not only unacceptable, but deeply divisive for our diverse community. Her targeting of the Jewish member of the board, as exhibited in her emails, is particularly concerning and reflects a failure to uphold the values of inclusivity and respect that our district stands for. As elected representatives of our community, it's imperative that we take a stand, that we say something, they do not be silent. Failure to address these issues undermines trust and unity in our community. If a board member cannot represent all constituents impartially, it is time for divisive vocal action on your part. Thank you.
Hear from Shoshana Cooper.
My daughter I urge you to not have Dr. Sullivan on the board because I don't feel that the students here are safe, neither they or neither their family. The fact that she signed on the petition with 171 people from Northwestern, that she's supporting the statement from the river to the state Palestine that we say, Jews go back to Skokie, and she called for advocate of Israel, and 30% of Jews live in Skokie. She doesn't belong here. She can go someplace else, but they have a lot of Palestinian population. The mayor of Skokie is Jew. He's been mayor for 25 years. He lives there 45 years. And he's a good mayor, and every place in Skokie says everybody is welcome. Well, if she hates Jews and Israel and she's anti-Semitic, she really doesn't belong here. I wonder sometimes if she's on the Qatar payroll, because this is, Northwestern was not peaceful protest. There was encampment is illegal. Also, they encourage students to cut classes and go and demonstrate against Israel. And this is against the policy of Northwestern. The people professors should be in their classes or research lab or library and don't spend the particular book, a Palestinian, and she said, I'm there to protect my students. Are all their students Palestinian? There's no Jews. You should be nice to Belush and Baha'i and Confucius and Buddha and Hindus and Jewish and Christian and everybody. And if they call for us to go back to Poland and Stefan, they should go back to Saudi Arabia and the desert, or she should go back to Canada. And if the name's Sullivan and she came from Ireland, she should go back to Ireland. I wonder how a person with a PhD can have such a limited view. Yeah, I mean, Qatar supports Northwestern, there's a Northwestern in Qatar, and Qatar supports you. But to just completely say that one day Jews don't exist and Israel doesn't exist, they have 23 Arab states, 51 Muslim states, and they cannot have one Jewish state. You want to have 24 Arab states and no Jewish state? We were expelled from everyone. This is our country. We came back. She has no right to say this. She is just going to there to teach anthropology and history. I wonder what kind of history she studied, and teach global health. And don't take any political view, and treat everybody the same. Thank you very much.
We will now move on to our superintendent's reports. Dr. Garber.
Okay, well, a little further in the meeting on the personnel report, there's two very important items that I just wanted to preview for you. You received a communication earlier this week about Dr. Schutz accepting a job as a human resources director in another school district. Dr. Grins quickly got to work to try to see if we had any internal candidates to fit the bill. Fortunately, we have an excellent internal candidate, Brian Ritz, who's sitting in the back row here. You can see what the status is. Currently, our coordinator of curriculum and school improvement is going to be moving over to the Devonshire principalship effective July 1st. He spent the last week with Dr. Schutz as he was transitioning out to glean everything he could. We're really excited. Brian's been here for 5 years as a coordinator, done an excellent job, and he's going to make an excellent principal over at Devonshire. Obviously, appointing him into this position left a hole because he was our coordinator for curriculum and school improvement. So we had another position to try to fill in short order in the summertime when candidates are in short order. Again, we were blessed to find a very excellent candidate, Diana Schmidt, who's in the back row over to the right. Worked at Old Orchard for 20 years before taking an assistant principalship and then a coordinator of curriculum and instruction position in a neighboring district for the last 2 years. And now she's coming back home where she belongs, to District 68, and will be taking Brian's position and working closely with Christy Sabatini. So we were very fortunate, given a late resignation like that, to be able to find two excellent hires and be able to not stick with these and keep moving forward. So Dr. Grins was not able to be with us tonight. He had a planned trip to Ireland with his family before he starts the principal or the superintendency on July 1st. So I'm delivering that message for him.
Congrats to you both.
They will be
I just wanted to very quickly move on. I just wanted to say for everyone who's continually come out, thank you for using your voices, no matter what side you're on. That's what we're here for, to listen to. Thank you.
Okay. We shall move on to the reading and acceptance of minutes. The next item is the reading and acceptance of minutes. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from May 15th, 2024, for the regular and closed session minutes.
Second?
Highland. Landrum. Yes. Rosner.
Yes.
Surman.
Yes.
Sullivan. Yes. Worshiper. Yes. Holdren. Yes.
The consent agenda is our next item of business. Does any member wish to remove any item for separate consideration? May I have a motion?
I motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, which includes personnel report, authorizing hire, change of status, and resignation of administrative staff,
hire, leave of absence, change of status, and resignation of licensed staff, change of status. Resignation of classified staff, including the termination of Shabana Ahmed, Zachariah Creighton, and Deval Sinergy. Financial reports, pay orders, and to all those people, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Financial reports, pay orders, expenditures, and secretaries, the Board of Education policies 2.40, 4.190, 7.10, 7.20, 7.180, and 7.190.
Longo? Yes. Rosner?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Workshop?
Yes.
Rose Jordan?
Yes.
Kayla?
We now move on to our reports and discussion items, starting with our NTDSE 807 report.
So we had our meeting last week. There was a student named Kirsten who has Rett syndrome, and she just received a big award from Infinitec. She uses a device to be able to communicate with eye gaze, to be able to actually say things, and has been a model for being able to use that to tell really great jokes and have tons of humor. So they had a huge dinner in honor of Kirsten and had a big team of her supporters there with her. The extended school year has begun. It begun the day after NTDSE closed for the year. So there was a big joke. It's the end of the year. It's the beginning of the year. They are going to be going for until I think it's early July. They have a large number of children that are participating in that. It's being held at Todd Hall in Lincolnwood. They welcome 213 students. So there were 18 buses. 180 of those children were K through 8, and 88 were ECC students. They are also starting a new classroom in Milton as a first and third grade classroom, which they're really excited about. They are seeing overall an increase from year to year of the number of students that they have. So they're actually trying to plan long term for some growth, and they're hopeful that the hopeful signing of the bill that they were supporting for getting public therapeutic day schools to be able to get the same funding as private schools will actually open up some possibilities for them to be able to find additional space. And beyond that, they're looking at another construction plan to update Quad 4 for renovation at Malloy, which that was one part that wasn't actually covered in the previous construction. So they're looking to, I think that's about all the main things.
Thank you. Move on to our Ed Red report.
Noel touched on one of the big updates from EdRed in June. One of the bills that they have really been pushing was the equalization of high-class special education. That's the good news of the update. That bill did pass. It was signed into law. And so that should really benefit our district and the surrounding districts financially, while still providing all the same supports for students. So that was wonderful. Another bill that they have been pushing was for the deprioritization of schools as polling places, and it still did not have enough support to pass this session. They plan to work with a similar network out of DuPage County in the coming months to try to present a variation on the same proposal. And again, this would not make it so that schools could not be used as polling places, but it would make it that they are not effectively the default for many communities. It would give schools more control and districts more control over whether and when schools are used as polling places. The one that is, at least for me, the most frustrating is, despite some good exchanges with legislators, the supporting newcomer students program, the grant program that Representative Crespo had really been championing, did not get enough support, did not get passed. It is not unique. There were a lot of both educational and non-educational financial commitments that were being requested this session that the legislature simply said they didn't have the money to support. I don't think that this is in any way singling out this program or saying that this program doesn't have potential in the future, but it's the one that got away. And given what we've heard from other districts about how quickly there can be such a huge influx of new students in your community, it just is, it's alarming that right now there is no support at the state level financially. And it could be us, it could be another nearby district, and we don't know when that might happen. But otherwise, there was a Lake County focused mini summit that they held that I was not able to attend. They're gonna slow down a little bit in the summer, but I'm sure there'll be more coming soon.
Jeff, I'm having a memory of 10 years ago to the June meeting when I first started. And the topic of using schools as polling places was up with legislative efforts to try to get that to go away 10 years ago.
So just wait till next year, isn't that what, yeah, it's not just for baseball, so, yeah, it's frustrating.
All right. We shall move on to our tentative 24-25 budget for one of the last times. We'll hear from Mr. Barry.
Mr. President, Madam Vice President, Dr. Garland, all the other ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you for having me. Tonight's presentation, down, there we go, is the 2025 tentative budget. As I say, every year, the budget is really a roadmap for the entire school year. It's meant for the school year, even though it's July, June. It's our plan. It's our financial plan going forward. Things change obviously throughout the year. A year is a long time, but we do set priorities that we look at every year. Financial priorities for the year going forward. Obviously, we continue our professional development related to school improvement across all content areas. Dr. Sam Jenny and Madam Schmidt will continue to do that work throughout the district. The learning environment, learning team outcomes is also a key financial priority. As you all approved, I believe in March or April, it was March, a large purchase order for next year, looking at the first outcome with the first installment of a 3-year plan for the learning environment learning team. Devonshire renovation is underway, and there are many walls missing, ceilings missing. It's really a sight to see right now. Basically, all the geothermal work and drilling is done in the outfield, at both Devonshire and Highland, looking to regrade that, put in new playgrounds, and then inside, expand all the work in there. But we're underway, and as of Tuesday, still on track to start school without any problems. Still on track to get teachers in about a week before without any problems. Still on track to get Mr. Ritzman there nice and early. But that's, good news. We have all the mechanical equipment currently on site, which is great, which is really kind of, where my own personal worry is, but, no hesitation to really see anything missing for the start of the school year. Also looking at the early childhood expansion, you'll see more on that. I think bids to go out in September, October, and probably come to you with final pricing in November. And then the Highland project is already kind of underway, but starting again in the spring as well. And property taxes is always a financial priority. My man is obviously our largest revenue source. If it wasn't on there, I'd say. Just looking at a complete budget overview, you can kind of see the darker line on the left is where we projected to start. Obviously, it's still a projection. We still have, I know there's only about a week left in June. However, we don't run bills until mid-July for the end of June. So it's just a projection. And then the light base line all the way on the right is kind of where we project to finish the year of approximately a year from now. Expenditures are going up, and revenues are kind of stabilizing, somewhat going down a little bit. If you're more into numbers and graphs. You know, same information, just on a graph. I would like to show though, the column all the way on the right shows total funds, so everything put together. And it does show that $15.5 million plan deficit. So there is some contingency and unspent money in there, but we're looking at about $15.5 million. Almost all of that is construction based. Not all of it, but a majority of that is construction based. You know, we're really finalizing and revamping all of our elementary schools right now. And want to finish that project going forward. We'll start with revenue. As I said, taxes are a large portion of our revenue base. Almost 85% of all revenue comes from local sources, taxes, and a corporate property replacement tax, which is basically a portion of sales taxes paid from within the district. Interest maintains about 3%. Other locals still maintains about 2%. State aid is slightly up. It's usually about 4 or 5%. The reason why it's up is federal aid is down. And the ESSER funds happened this year. We'll no longer maintain those funds. Over the last 4 years, COVID started, I think we had a total of about $7 million run through the district for COVID-related ESSER funds. Property taxes are capped. We can only increase by CPI or 5%, whichever is lower. In 2023 and 2022, we saw huge inflation in CPI increases for property tax. Property tax was capped 5%. In 2024, they were capped 3%. So the reason I show you both is we collect the last installment, 2023's taxes, in 2024, the calendar year, in the fall. The past few years, those amounts have been delayed. Hopefully, the county will get their act together. We'll see those bills in August and September, and then collect the first installment of 2024's taxes in calendar year 2025, which is still part of FY25 for that March 1st. So we're in between 2 tax years and 2 increases with the tax cap. The average over the last 5 years has been 3.42. Going forward, I would guess the same is about 2 or 3%. You'll see that in the financial projections later in the fall. Collections have been holding steady at about 98%. We're scheduled to be on time by 2025. Again, we will receive it somewhat within the actual fiscal year. We just don't know when. Property tax appeals have been large issues in the past. We are part of a cooperative with other local school districts, high school district, library districts, Niles Township, the village of Skokie, to kind of fight a lot of those property assessments. When people appeal them, we've had saved over $5 million in preserved revenue over the last few years. Last year, so far in 2024, we've had over $500,000 in refunds. We are able to reassess some of those taxes as part of the new levy process, which is nice, so we don't technically lose those anymore. But also, we don't like seeing increases in our bills year after year for something that we should have paid a few years past. So we still fight the large increases because most of those large assessments that are from our commercial-based businesses, and we prefer state taxes. New growth, we kind of saw a stalemate in the past few years for new growth, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh yeah, we forgot it. We had $15 million last year. It's so hard to pinpoint, but you know, every about $1 million is an extra $29,000 that we can add to our levy that doesn't affect current home buyer or current homeowners, which is great. So, you know, before last year, 2 out of the last 3 have said it was 0, which is mind-boggling how they didn't have it. So I think they were just catching up from COVID. But it was, you know, a nice bump for the district. As I mentioned before, federal revenue will be decreasing, no more ESSER money. Title grants are expected to increase slightly. We got a large allotment kind of this spring, afterwards, and then our first allotment for the regular year is slightly higher than it usually is. So, slight increase there, but however, overall decrease for federal revenue. Food service reimbursement should be relatively stable. Other local revenue, interest income is projected at 1.75%. It's a very conservative approach. Last year we were around 2.25. Student fees will be stable, lunch revenue stable, and the parent sign revenues for the parent mentor program also stable from last year's budget. State, we continue to be held to a line list for the evidence-based funding, meaning our increases, I think was about $2,000, which is nothing for a $2.2 million budget line, something, but we always start taking away from the agreement that plan when the evidence-based funding first kind of came in. It was a little questionable for your four district members. Categorical grants are mostly special ed transportation, also remain very stable in the budget for that. Any revenue questions? I feel like I'm talking.
Any questions?
Yes.
When we, your last meeting. And I don't mean to get into it, but I do know we have an item later in our agenda on food service and lunch prices, a slight adjustment. Is that slight adjustment why our lunch revenue will be stable in the fiscal 24, in the fiscal 25 budget? Are those tied at all?
They're tied a little bit. I mean, I expect the revenue to basically remain stable and, basically the same amount of lunches. I expect to serve maybe a little less than the a la carte. A la carte kind of teeters back and forth every year. It's really hard to say. But, only I think it was a slightly over 3% increase in the lunch revenue. So overall, factor-wise, in the total revenue, I expect just to kind of remain
It
stable.
is a really small increase in that. I just didn't know is that why our revenue overall will be stable?
I mean, I'm not expecting, because we increased the price to serve less lunches. I think it's good.
All right, thank you.
Any other revenue? That's later today.
See you out there.
Here. All right. Excited. Because I hit it 20 times.
There you go.
We are in the people business. Well, that capital number certainly is off, isn't it? I wish. We are in the people business, which means the majority of our expenditures are salary and benefits. Typically, salary and benefits end up being about 75% of our budget. However, with the increase in capital, I think it's supposed to be 26%. With the increase in capital for Highland and Devonshire and the ECC project, that number is going down. Typically, we like capital to be at about 3 or 5%. However, major construction like this is going to increase. 25, yeah, 26. Forgot a little bit right there. And then salaries is actually only for what I was doing here. Salaries 43%, benefits is only 8%. So with that large thing, capital, we got that here. Overall salary increases are only 1%. However, we do have some additional staffing, licensed staffing. We, as talked about in previous months, adding an extra EL resource teacher district-wide, an extra bilingual Spanish teacher over in Stenson, and then kind of focusing on where other teachers for specific grade levels may or may not be needed. Classified staffing, we've added a few aides, however, we've had some leave, so overall, classified staff currently is relatively stable with the potential of a few new aides, because we did also add a certified RISE teacher to bring back more of our special ed students actually in our building. However, with some large retirements this year, overall salary and costs are only increasing 1% compared to last year. Based on where current new staff have taken their benefits, overall benefits budget has actually increased 2.3%. However, plans have decreased 4.3% for the PPO, 8% for the HMO, and then the dental also increased. But again, new younger staff, not everybody's taking insurance right off the bat. Older retired staff who might have supported their family are coming off the district, so overall benefits are supposed to decrease 2.3%. Services decreased 2.2% also, however, construction management and architect fees remain stable. There was a large increase of 20% in those fees in the current year, but overall next year, they look to level off. Supplies and materials, we're looking at a new cycle of iPads coming into the district this year. We're continuing to maintain fixed per pupil allocation for our teachers to supply those in extra supplies and widgets, if you will, for in the classroom use. That's why we also maintain the same supply materials costs for our parents. Capital and equipment, that's our highly capital projects, early childhood, and also with our supplies is the learning environment and learning team costs as well. Tuition and TDSC costs continue to rise, and special ed costs throughout the state for every school district continue to rise just based on enrollment. NTDSC has done a very good job maintaining the actual cost per pupil over the last few years, but they've expanded tremendously enrollment wise over the last few years too. Any other questions? I guess not.
That's a trick question. What's your favorite color?
Go blue.
Oh, boy.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you very much, Ray. We move on to the YOU funding proposal.
Yeah, so, about a month or so ago, we were approached by YOU. Apparently, the 21st Century Community Grant has not come through. It may still, but apparently it does not look promising right now. The YOU program started 9 years ago here when they received a $500,000 grant to run the program in our schools. We welcomed them in at the time. It's been a great program. It serves on average about 40 kids a year, 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday after school. And then there's a 6-week program, 5 days a week, and there's a lot of field trips, experiential outings that they run there. It's been a great program anecdotally. It gives kids activities after school, gives them academic support, social emotional support. Unfortunately, without that $500,000 grant, they can no longer afford to run the program here. A few years ago, they approached us when they were having a budget shortfall, and we originally they covered the transportation for that summer program, which was a pretty hefty price tag, and we ended up picking up that cost to be able to maintain the program at the time. Now they recognize that a $500,000 ask to maintain the program as it is quite a large ask. They've come up with a proposal to pare the program down to 2 days a week during the school year and still maintain that 6 weeks, 5 days a week with the field trips in the summertime. But that cost to serve this year. The math over 5 years, it's $1 million. It's $1 million decision. Obviously, we've really enjoyed having the YOU program, and it certainly has provided services to our kids. And now, however, the board has to make a decision as to whether you want to continue the program as they're proposing it, or in all likelihood, the program will go away. It did go away under similar circumstances in District 69 a couple of years ago as well. I hate to see the program go. I think it's a valuable program. At the same time, $200,000 is a lot of money for after-school programming. I've talked to Principal Hanson, who assures me that there is a plethora of after-school opportunities that these kids would be able to avail themselves in. So the kids who are in the YOU program would not be without after-school programming at Old Orchard. And there's the possibility we can increase some of the internal after-school programming now. So that's kind of where we're at the moment.
Jim, are the after-school programs that we have now touching on any combination of the 1, 2, and 3 here, any combination of academic support and social emotional? And typically, after-school activities are more enrichment. And I'm just wondering, to what extent might that be a way to bring some of the additional, if Principal Hanson is interested in helping to maybe build out the current program to be more inclusive if we couldn't have YOU? Would it be to try to do some of this wraparound kind of, activities, or is that preemptive to the decision?
I mean, I think there's certainly possibilities at this point. If we need to design more programming after school, we obviously have options. I would say of the programs that are available now, and you're correct, they're more enrichment, there's sports, there's enrichment, there's gaming clubs, and the like. I think social emotional needs are touched upon through those programming options, but academic programming options, I don't really, like strict support and help for math or language arts does not exist at this point.
Is there a plan in place to make that exist?
We do not have any plan in place until we know about this. We just learned about their funding issue about a month ago.
There is a homework support after school provided by teachers, so students get out in different content areas. So we do that.
And this may be an unfair question, and one that should have been asked prior to the meeting, but I know that the program and the proposal is for up to 40 students. Do we have a sense of how many students participated in YOU over the last couple of?
Oh, yeah, it's on average, it's about 40.
So the average of moving forward would be based on the average of past participation?
So I've got numbers for the last 5 years. For during the school year, it's been 36, 43, 38, 45. In the summer, the numbers are a little bit larger, 61, 50, 58, 45. So the enrollment's a little bit larger in the summertime.
So this, I know I asked this, but like I just want to make sure I'm really clear. So for the SEL components, which yes, you get it through sports, but there's also very intentional SEL enrichment that can happen. Did YOU at any point measure or like work in conjunction with Greg on how that particular group of students were impacted in interacting with the community?
They've done some simple surveys of parents and students. What they were able to give me some data for this week. 100% of the parents say that YOU has helped my child. 100% of them say it's helped my child engage in learning and then have goals for the future. And student surveys, 100% of the kids feel like YOU helps them feel confident. Most of the things I try to do. 82% said it helps me understand what I need to do to reach my goals. And 100% said it teaches me to understand that I'm responsible for my own actions. That's the data that they were able to offer us.
Is there any data from the current programming that would like be sort of parallel from the different, I just like
what if yoga club or whatever it is where there is more intentional SEL supports, like is the school measuring the outcomes there?
No, they don't collect data on our sports and after-school activities.
And Jimmy said some of the other districts have, already had to make the decision to sunset the YOU program because of cost.
And part of it, YOU is a large organization, based out of Evanston, so, the cost for after-school programming for 40 kids, $200,000, that's a hefty, it's a premium price tag.
For a lot of
If we
districts.
provide after-school activities. Part of that is because some of that money goes to supporting their administrative functions in the organization at large. So, if we were to design, similar programming, and probably we could do it for less money than they do it. They're $500,000 to do what they've been doing now. If we're doing it outside of that organization, trying to replicate their service, it would probably be much less because we wouldn't be having to support a different administration and the other things that they do.
If there's staff that, oh, sorry.
So there are ideas about, following either what parents have done, right? Like after school results that teachers can support or so forth, or.
I mean, we currently already have a lot of those programs in place, and according to Mr. Hanson, there's plenty of room for kids. If kids are in YOU, they can step into some of that other programming we have. If your question is, can we expand the programming we have? Quite possibly so. The programming that we currently have, though, is staff-based, so we don't obligate staff to provide after-school programming outside of the contract. It needs to be done voluntarily. We pay them, but they still have to be willing to do it. So yes, we probably could expand some offerings if teachers were willing to pick up some of those additional responsibilities after school.
Have there been any conversations? I was gonna ask the question, piggybacking on, what Mike was talking about. Have there been conversations or have any teachers expressed that to start like legit academic and SEL support is a lot of work? Have there been conversations where people are like, that's something I would like to pursue, or are we just crossing our fingers that someone will?
This came to our attention about a month ago, towards the end of the school year, so we haven't done anything yet with this other than bring it to you to see what you would like to do with it.
Because the decision, because
What
of
you
the timing.
decide here is going to decide what the school district will follow up with.
And they're looking for, the last line is really, impactful, about recommending an additional annual expense. Is why are you asking for a multi-year contract, or are they, do you have a sense?
I think right now they're kind of on survival mode. How do we get into,
Right.
how do we get next year up and running?
Okay,
And,
got you.
we'll probably go from there.
Is there an alternative to the summer programming that they offer?
You mean like a lesser amount?
Or what do we provide? Because I know we can take the school year kids into other.
Right. Yeah, we don't have
We don't have
the same.
That's the boss.
Yeah, we don't have the same large offerings that we do.
Like of the 200,000, how much of that goes to camp or summer?
They did not lay that out in the memo. I can follow up with that now.
And do we have time to ask this question before the decision has to be made? I just want to make sure that we're not putting you in the district in a position where we have to decide something. I would like to know that answer too. And also, is there a summer option only as opposed to the afternoon option? I'm just thinking of different ways to think about it.
I can ask those questions.
And are there students currently enrolled in the summer? I'm presuming. This isn't-
Yes,
not it.
yes,
Right.
yeah, because it's
This is
still.
for next summer.
I hope so.
If you're since we are discussing this, I would also be really interested to know who specifically, like, you has worked with. Is that students who are, in MTSS in a certain range, like, are they targeting a specific student group? Because again, I want to be mindful of that when thinking about like the potential loss, like who's losing out. So if we could get data on who's enrolling in U programming versus just regular after school, I think that'd be very helpful.
Is it entirely opt-in or is it?
So it's by recommendation, essentially. Each
much time does District 68 have to kind of get back by you, given that they're in kind of survival mode?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to plan their budget now for next year. You know, the timing of when they got news that they might not get the grant, then we're able to talk to us and us to you is somewhat problematic for them.
Sure, I imagine, yeah. I just think it would be, you know, it'd be helpful to see if there's any other models. I, I will go out on, you know, whatever limb and say I am concerned about $200,000 annual expense, given the substantial commitments that we have with the infrastructure that we spend a lot of time thinking about, and with, you know, negotiations and things like that coming up. In particular, you know, making sure that we have solid negotiation and contract for our teachers for the academic year is our bread and butter. And so I want to make sure that we, you know, are positioned well to go into those negotiations, and knowing what that looks like. Not knowing what that's going to look like makes me have tremendous trepidation about, you know, signing up for a $200,000 commitment even for 1 year. But if there are other, you know, models for, you know, a step down that we could perhaps
Or not, a step internally that would.
a step internally, or a summer model, since we don't offer anything in summer. I'm more thinking about the summer option. I believe we have infrastructure to build out the needs for the students during the year. I remember when YOU came, and, you know, it wasn't immediate, you know, running to YOU, but it built out a real, you know, population of interested students. And so I'm less worried about the academic year piece. So summer is optional. So the question is it optional in a way that we can afford? At least until we know kind of what our commitments are going to be after our negotiations. I just don't want to lose sight of our substantial commitment to our staff.
I can reach out to them with some of these questions tomorrow.
Thank
See what I can answer. Thank you.
Jim, I should have clarified this before, so I want to make sure the $500,000 annual grant, it looks like they're likely not going to get, was that grant strictly for us, for Old Orchard?
That's what we were told.
Okay.
And it was like 490,000.
And did,
And I don't know what percent of that goes to their overhead, you know, their
Sure.
organizational overhead. It's probably
did
substantial.
Mr. Lynch or anyone give any insight into why they thought they might not be receiving?
Because the 21st century grant is not being funded the way it was previously.
Okay.
We're one of 3 districts on their website, 65.
And they're primarily based in 65. But there they have a large fundraising operation locally that helps support that program. I did connect them with Deanna to talk about what local entities might be able to assist in raising funds here in Skokie for our program. They have several meetings with her, found them very fruitful, and I think they're trying to build out.
That was
Some
where I was going with that question, was if that was a grant that was specific to us. I know that there are some funding resources in the community. Very similar.
They do a lot of large fundraisers at Evanston for the Evanston program, you know, that are done through Wyatt. They haven't got to the fundraising year with that grant to be able to supplement it. And they're, as they said, now realizing the error of their ways by not pursuing fundraising options earlier.
Thank you.
I will reach out to them with these questions tomorrow, try to get answers back to everybody next week. I'll copy Scott on everything, so you guys can.
Yeah, free time in July. Work on this. No?
Might be a special board meeting though in
July 2nd. We'll be at your house. Moving on to our action items. Next item of business is the authorization of the notice of publication of the 24-25 tentative budget. May I have a motion?
I call for a motion to authorize the notice of publication for the tentative 2024-2025 budget, giving notice that the tentative budget is available for public inspection at the Educational Service Center beginning July 1st, 2024, and further stating that a public hearing on the budget will be held on September 19th, 2024.
This is just an annual, we need to put a notice in the April, whenever we have a hearing. Every year we have a budget hearing, that takes place before the board, approves the final budget in September, so. This is approval, the next board.
Ruffner,
Yes.
Stebbins,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Worsham,
Yes.
Jordan, yes, Hyatt, Monagle,
Yes.
Yes. And you would have been here. Our next item of business is the approval of the food service breakfast and lunch prices. May I have a motion?
I call for a motion to approve the 2024-2025 food service breakfast and lunch prices.
Discussion? Any questions on this item? Okay.
As stated in the memo, this is a requirement we have as part of the National School Lunch Program. Our revenue did not exceed our expenditures previous years, so therefore we were required to increase. It's the first time we've increased in 3 years, which is nice we've been able to do that. So just kind of working our way back to what the increase is, because we've increased the food prices and we've paid in 12 vendors over the last few years. So I'm just trying to catch up to that. Other expenditures.
Any questions?
Stebbins,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Worsham,
Yes.
Jordan, yes, Hyatt,
Yes.
Monagle,
Yes.
Ruffner.
Yes. The next item of business is the approval of the 24-25 iPad refresh for students and staff. May I have a motion?
Call for a motion to approve the 2024-2025 iPad refresh for students and staff, allowing Second Life Act to purchase 2,200 iPads from Skokie School District 68 for a minimum of $222,000 or maximum of $375,000, and to lease-to-own agreement with Apple to acquire 1,900 10th generation iPads for a cost of $941,405 over 3 years.
Apple,
This is basically just a refresh of our student iPads that are a 3-year refresh cycle. Do have to switch to the new 10th gen iPads because something with the case and just changed.
and obsolescence, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Yes. It's a slight increase from where our current lease to own is, with a few more and better, faster iPads. I think, but also selling at the current iPads, which are all in very good shape. So I expect that number to be closer to around 300,000. When we sell them back, which almost covers the entire first year.
That's a year, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get that deal when you trade in person. Any other questions?
Sullivan,
Yes.
Worsham,
Yes.
Jordan, yes, Hyatt, Monagle,
Yes.
Ruffner,
Yes.
Stebbins.
Next item of business is the semi-annual review of closed session minutes. May I have a motion?
Call for a motion for the approval of the semi-annual review of closed session minutes.
Second.
Worsham,
Yes.
Jordan, yes, Hyatt, Monagle,
Yes.
Ruffner,
Yes.
Stebbins,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Sorry, I was realizing I didn't have minutes. All right. Finally, we get to our FOIA requests. There were 2 requests and responses for information under the Freedom of Information Act during the period of May 10th through June 13th, 2024. On May 16th, the district received a request from Massive Lumber from Skokie, Illinois, requesting access to all of Dr. Sullivan's email correspondences with other board members starting on October 7th. The response was sent on May 23rd. On May 17th, the district received a request from Alexander Goodfriend requesting 1, records pertaining to anti-Semitism since May 1st, 2019 to present day. 2, any policies, procedures that the school had in place when addressing such incidents and any discussions about an incident after it happened, and records of remedial action taken or the decision not to take any remedial action. 3, all emails to and from board member Joel Sullivan's email upon which official business was conducted from October 1st to the present. Response was sent on May 31st. Next item of business is entering closed session of the board. May I have a motion?
I call for a motion to enter closed session to discuss the collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. 5 LCS 120/2 parentheses 2. Second.
All Jordan?
Yes.
Tyler? Monahan?